Get them exhausted, and then you run them over, right? Okay. Now, when you distort the hydrogen essence of the suns and its ability to give you the helium, all the different forms of elements, because remember, all of the elements that's in your body, you don't need to be getting from food. The sun creates the elements based upon what you breathe. So it's necessary to pollute the atmosphere so that the solar radiation that creates the nutrients, the what do you call it, the minerals. The sun creates minerals. So what the best way to do for you to stop getting minerals through the breath, because the breath is the breath of life. You are the breath of life. You're not the spinach of life. You're not the Mickey D's of life. You are the breath of life. So the breath is supposed to give you everything that you need. But when you distort the atmosphere, when you distort the environment, you cannot be nurtured through your primary source anymore. And then this now distills the atmosphere into the blood. This is the secret of Jesus changing the water to wine at the marriage of Cana. If you look at the word Cana, it means place of the reeds. If you look inside your lungs, it's nothing but a constitution of reeds. That's what your bronchioles are. The marriage of Cana is taking in the solar radiation as food, condensing it as the waters into the wine that is your blood. You see, oh, it gets deep. It's deep. I mean, after this, why would you even want to go to school? What are they teaching our children? What are they teaching us in these places?
So as you can see, The Simpsons predicted everything that would happen with G. Floyd, everything that would happen with Kobe. So this is a high form of magic. This is predictive programming. This is the arts of manifesting. Now here's the gematria breakdown. An evil barcode and the holy Elohim queen. This is when I was doing the gematria to everything regarding G. Floyd and the pandemic and everything. So the holy Elohim queen, the reason that's important is because I believe that the queen is the one putting a lot of these things into action, okay? Now, because Elohim is recreating its creation and terraforming earth to be fit for them and not for the hue man, the man with the hue that absorbs all light. So, now trees are ancient and they hold the energy of the ancestors, and it was believed that we resided within those trees, the spirit. And it was a natural environment to watch over their kin and relay messages to and from God and grant blessings, wishes, and requests. Now, I broke this down in the video I did about the download I got about the rainforest being the lungs of the earth and that they were under attack. And I was saying in that video that this is going to also start manifesting physically, and that happened. The lungs, the ability to breathe, the whole pandemic is centered around the lungs, okay? Now, sacred trees were sometimes described as possessing huge or unusual dimensions or miraculous physical characters. Frequently, sacred trees were regarded as having omnipotent magical powers to punish, to cure, or to carry out miracles. This is so dope. So as you all know, as the ancient ones, the souls who are awakening, that we are the trees. We are the tree of life. This is why the nervous system, the circulatory system, everything within the body resembles a tree. Let's keep going. Now, throughout history and in many cultures, Sacred trees were regarded as omens and oracles, as well as soothsayers that may speak in human voices. Punishment of whoever violates the tree all over the world. Sacred trees are protected by a system of taboos and ceremonies which were developed to prevent any damage. Now, y'all know a lot of damage been done to the trees. So there is a lot of punishment. And these protective totems and these spirits are being unleashed on earth to right what has been wronged. Now, these trees are regarded of being like an abode, right? And punishment comes as a result of messing with them. So cutting down a sacred tree is regarded as a particular serious offense against the supernatural element, because such an act leaves the spirit homeless. Pay attention. I told you all about how souls are caused to be earthbound, being sacrificed near or in these lodges, right? Based on the book by Rudolf Steiner from the early 1900s. So ceremonies and spiritual rituals, magic is so important to repatriate these supernatural beings, right? But so many of us have been put in a lockdown where a lot of us struggle with this belief system because religion has told us not to do rituals, not to pay attention to astrology, not to have, because all of that is new age, right? New age. But the same book says there's nothing new under the sun, right? Okay. And that same book also says you should watch the sun, moon, and stars to know the seasons, right? So everything we were told not to do, we were also told to do when you began reading the hidden meaning in this text. Now, the Ka represents the spiritual form. We have the Kaaba. So this is the soul, and this is the body that contains the soul. And I find it really, really interesting that when I went to do research, I came across this statue, and the position that the arms are in are very significant. So we're being activated even though we may not consciously know what's happening according to prophecy. So as you can see here, the whole protest, as this began kicking up in recent years, we were in this position. So let me explain the position. The Ka is represented by two raised arms at an angle of 93 degrees, which symbolize the life force of the human body. And sometimes these raised arms are a part of the Ka statue. And the statue is what I just showed you a picture of. So when we were doing that and protesting, that was a symbol of the life force of a human. Okay? And again, this is proof. If anybody was still on the fence about this is proof that even those who are unconscious, we are fulfilling the prophecy. Just some of us are doing it deliberately and consciously, and some aren't. But you can observe and see the ancient prophecies manifesting. So what really happens when police officers tell us to put our hands up? We know the foundation of the police officers, of that force being an extension of the KKK. So is this the spiritual force of black people who make up the highest majority of people who are in these prisons? Is this the spiritual force being arrested? Is that a ritual in itself? You tell me. Now, in ancient times, one believed that nasal breathing was breathing into the soul, and in order to increase one's universal life force or prana. The shadows of individuals did not constitute, right, an exception. So if you look at how Hollywood has pressured so many black actors and actors, and just the brainwashing that we've been under, period, it makes us want to do what? Cut on our nose. Have you noticed that? I'm sure you have, right? So this is symbolic of what's happening and the oppression that has been put over this community of people, of suppressing the life force, suppressing the prana. So this is why when they die saying, I can't breathe. That is symbology, that the I divinity within us, as we are awakening, it is under attack to be suppressed and oppressed and hopefully completely repressed. But it's not going to work, because guess what? He called on the energy of the mother, the primordial energy, the divine feminine energy of the mother, the cosmic mother, the mother earth. He called on the life force in his last breaths, okay? So this ritual that has been constructed based on ancient Kemet, and the technology has been reversed. It's like a reverse engineering of that technology to keep the peoples who are awakening development arrested. So symbolically, pretty much we are all under attack with wearing these masks. And if you have worn a mask for a day or two, a little while, you know you cannot breathe well. And there's been research done. Dr. Judy Mikovits, and all of her videos got snatched off YouTube, but she's saying breathing in these masks is actually causing a situation to be more fitting for viruses and all types of bacteria and disease from just inhaling and exhaling within this mask all day. Check this out. The Confederate statues, why have they stood this long? Why have they stood the test of time? Nobody messes with them. If you do, you go to jail. That's based on ancient Kemet as well. The belief is that the extension of one's life was represented as its double or cause statue, in which the deceased life force, right, continued to last as long as the statue was in good condition. This is why those Confederate statues are up in most of all of our cities and seem to go untouched, even though we have talked about racism, we've had a black president, we did all of that, and them Confederate statues were still standing. That's to keep the life force energy alive, to keep the white supremacy and the plan of the powers that be in power. But the great mama, the primordial mama, she's arisen. She's like, we need to get rid of those statues. And that life force energy, not on the new earth. Now, as you can see here, this is Whitney Houston's funeral. It was an ancient Kemetic ritual. Memphis is important. We have the Trail of Tears here, right? And as you can see here, these tribal nations, how they went through this whole area. You have the Underground Railroad you're looking at, in the slave haven. All of this is relevant, and even the death of Martin Luther King. So they know that doing things that cause riots is going to trigger, especially people in Memphis. And again, this is more high magic that they are doing to collect life force energy by getting us stirred up. Now, we all know about fluoride and how it turns the pineal gland to stone. And we know that the pineal gland is very important for enlightenment, for awakening, right? To be able to get out of this mess. So the attack is against the pineal gland to turn it to stone. Houston also continues to come up because who was the stone that the builders rejected? It was Christ. It was the Christos consciousness. As you can see here on the back of the pyramid, there are some stones missing. And that last piece, the apex of that piece, is an eye. I have an idea about whose eye that is, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that I make sure that I am illuminated and doing what I need to do to keep my pineal gland decalcified, to not turn to stone. The stone that the builders rejected, those with the darkened hue, the hue man. This is spiritual warfare against frequency, against origins, and ancient wisdom. As we always say, man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace.